Thanks for joining me at the table. My name is Max. This is Tablenauts, and this is episode 3 of I Finally Played, Shame No Mo, Dusty Debuts. Congratulations, you played yourself. Shelf? Dang it, I messed up the gag. Whatever. Anyways, today I have 3 games. I'm going to give you 2.5 first impressions on, and I'll tell you why when we get there. One thing to note before we get started is that once this video is over, you may run to the comments and say, Max, those weren't on your shelf of shame, and to that I will say, you are correct. They were not. And really, I've only owned these games for a very short amount of time, especially the half review. I've only owned that one since yesterday. But I'm kind of making a pledge or a habit to, if I purchase a new game without having also sold games with it, that it just goes straight to the shelf of shame. It's a different type of shame, but it's shame nonetheless. So, we have 3 new games that are on my shelf of shame that I have finally played. We're going to start with the half review because I was only able to play a half game of this. Maybe a little more than half, but I wasn't able to fully finish a game. Just ran out of time. I played this 2-player with my father, and this is John D. Clare's Space Base. You probably know a lot about this game. If you don't, you're like me. This is kind of a classic, according to many people. Kind of fits in the same genre. Not as much as like a Ticket to Ride or a Catan staple into a early game collection. But it's one of those entry-level games that a lot of people swoon over. And so it wasn't one that I was super duper interested in, but I wanted to try it out. If you don't know what Space Base is, it is kind of a, I don't even know how to describe it, a tableau building card activation. I don't even know how to describe this game, but I'll tell you how it works a little bit. You have 12 cards. You have 2 dice. So when you roll a dice, you're going to get numbers 1 through 12. You can get, obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because of a single die. And then you can also combine them to make the 7 through 12. When you do that, you activate those cards and you earn gold, or you earn victory points, or you activate special abilities. And on your turn, you'll activate your main ones. And then when you purchase new cards, you'll replace a card and tuck that card under that has a smaller ability that you'll activate when other people roll that number. Which is really cool, because that means that no matter whose turn it is, you're still paying attention. It's also really fast. The rolls and the activations are very quick. The only thing that takes any amount of time is really just deciding what card you want to purchase from the marketplace. All in all, pretty pleased with this. My dad quite liked it. It was very quick, fun. I think there's a lot more to it than that we did not see. Obviously, we only played 40 minutes, not a full game, whatever. I do really like it, and I'm excited to play it more, and I do think it is that nice weight. And kind of, it's so quick, and it's not a ton that you have to consider. However, I think there is a lot of depth if you put the time and effort into it on combos that you can pull off. Just from seeing the cards, of which I only saw, I don't know, an eighth of a deck of cards so far. I do really like it. One thing that if you are someone who always has to have a pristine board state, I don't know, if you don't like cards being askew or anything like that, this is certainly not the game for you. You've got 12 oddly shaped cards. They're like the shape of like a stick of gum, almost, a little bit bigger than that, but 12 of those, and there's nothing holding them where they are. I do think it would be nice if they had like something, I don't know, there's probably something on Etsy, I'll go look at it, something that could just keep the cards a little more aligned, because I personally like to have a nice clean playing area, and that's a little weird, but it's not a problem. That doesn't affect the game at all. Just something to note. I quite enjoyed it. I know my dad enjoyed it. What we've played so far, I'm excited to introduce it to my wife and my mother and some friends and see if they get along. Because honestly, it's not a game that I need to have in my collection for me. However, if it really attaches to people that I play with, that's great. It's one that I'd like to keep in my collection for me, but it's certainly not a must-have. I do like Space Base though, and let me know what you think about the expansions and whether you liked it if you've played it yourself. John D. Clare's Space Base. Alright, number 2, you all might not even say is a game, and I've certainly not finished this, but I have experienced at least 4 or 5 of the missions or scenarios, and this is Micro Macro Crime City. This is a new game that just released last year, 2020. And you know what? We're not even going to do B-roll for this. I'm just going to show you what it is because it's huge. It's ridiculous. This is the game board. It's just a map. It's a big old map. It's a really big map. And in this game, you've got little cards, and there's I think 24 different missions. The great thing about this game is when you beat it, give it to someone else. Give it away. Give it to your friend because you don't mark on the board. There's no legacy aspect where you rip the cards or mark on the board or anything like that. This is a play at once type game, but when you're done, you can pass it on. No questions asked, no problem. In this game, you've got little scenarios that are going to say, who killed this guy? And you're going to find this guy. And then the next thing is going to go, where did this guy live? And you're going to track down, you're solving one step at a time and accumulating to solving a crime, basically. So you'll track them across the map because each little square or just each little area is basically the time moves with the map. So if a guy's down here in a taxi, he may also be over here in a taxi and have gone different places. We've only solved a few of the missions, but it's really fun. It's really quite simple so far, though even now, even though I'm only at the 3-star missions, I'm noticing ones that I'm like, we are racking our brain trying to find them. With that being said, we have been playing in the bed, which is not the greatest place to play this game because it is a giant map. I think that playing this on a table with like people standing up is probably the ideal situation to play this game. But it's super fun. It's essentially Where's Waldo Solving Crimes board game scenario edition. Just like that. Put it on the box. Just like that. We're going to leave this out because I don't want to make so much noise. Now, finally, this is a game I never in my life expected to own. I honestly probably have trashed it on multiple occasions because if you know me, if you follow this channel, you know that I like theme, I like art, stuff like that. It's pretty to me. I have aphantasia, so I can't imagine things. I don't have any kind of mind's eye or visual imagery in my head, so I need that physical presence of components and art to really pull me into a game. This isn't the ugliest game in the world, but no one told me I'd ever want to play a game about monks. This is Biblios. This is a game by ELO, and this is a game that I had left in the dust already. No desire to play this game. Thank you, Windows Defender. No desire to play this game. However, I am easily swayed. I succumb to peer pressure very easily. And one of my favorite podcasts, Board Game Barrage, check them out if you have not already, raves about Biblios and innovation, which will also be coming to the series at some point in time in the near future. And I couldn't ignore it anymore. It was one of those things. It's a cheap game. They had it in stock somewhere that I was at. It wasn't like I ordered this on purpose, like specially got it online, like I have to play this. But I saw it and I was like, look, fine, okay? Fine. I'll try Biblios. I have played this 2 times, once with my wife and once with my father. I have lost both times, and I have thoroughly enjoyed myself both times. This is a 30-minute game. I think it's 2 to 4 people, 2 to 4 players. So I've played it just the 2-player count both times, and it's honestly really good. It's got a lot of different things going for it, and I'm not the best at describing games. You're probably aware of that. That's not why you're here. However, you've got it's kind of like a set collection, a bidding, a slight bluffing, a little bit of push your luck, dice manipulation, drafting. Look, there's a lot going on here. Essentially, in the game of Biblios, you have 5 different categories of cards that you're trying to win. They all start with their victory point tracker, a dice, on the number 3. meaning that at the end of the game, if you win that category by having the most point value cards in that category, you get 3 victory points. Throughout the game, you're going to be adjusting those dice to earn you less points for some categories, more points for other categories. You're also, so when you play a card, or when you start a turn, you draw X amount of cards, whereas X is equal to the amount of players in the game plus 1. So in a 2-player game, you take 3 cards. And with that, you keep 1 card, you put 1 in the auction pile for the second phase of the game, and you give 1 to the other players, in this case, just player. The catch is you look at them 1 at a time. So if I draw a card that's a 2 gold, which gold is used in the auction phase later in the game, that's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. So say I put that, I put that in the opposite players. I give that away to someone else. And then I draw a 2 in the secret tome category, and I'm like, okay, that's not bad either, but I could get better. So I put that in the auction deck, and then I draw a 1 in the books category, and that has to come to my deck. That's just the way it is. Throughout the game, you're going to be getting rid of other cards and adding more cards, and basically trying to score the most points in the categories that are going to win you the most victory points. It's pretty simple. That's it. I probably didn't explain it well. The art's not great, but the art's better than I thought it would be, just coming in with this. But this is Biblios. Out of the 3 that I've played, I'm the most pleased with this because it's so short, yet there's so much going on, and even though I lost, I had a really good time. I also lost in Space because we were just like running out of time, for like, let's play 4 more turns. I was up by like 8 victory points, and in those 4 turns, I think my dad got 12 victory points and I got 2, and he ended up winning by 2 on the last turn. He literally got, or he won by 1 by getting 1 victory point on the final roll that we had decided. Of course, that's not, how the game would normally play. That I don't fault that, whatever. I don't mind losing games. It's still fun, but I really like Biblios. I really like Micro Macro Crime City, and I'm very excited to beat it so I can give it to someone else, because I just love giving people games and selling games so other people can experience them. I don't care if I take a loss or if I just have to give them away. If I like a game, I want other people to play that. In fact, there's a whole video out there about me wanting people to like things and being upset when they don't, but we won't talk about that. And Space, I'm very pleased to add to my collection. It's not one that I'm in love with yet, but again, I've only played like a half a game, and I'm excited to introduce it to the other people that I think may enjoy it. So, this is congratulations, you played your shelf, or Dusty debuts, or I finally played, whatever. Also, thank you to the people on Twitter that have told me those ideas, because those are not of my own creation. Speaking of, follow me on Twitter. It's at MNTWASD in the description below. Also, if you like and enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe. I'll be back each and every week that I can with new games that have finally come off my shelf of shame, giving you a first impression and letting you know whether they're staying on my shelf or they've got to go. As for these 3, they're sticking around. I appreciate you being here. I'll see you next week, and thank you so much for watching. Once again, this is Max. Have a good rest of your day. I don't like the way I ended that. Yeah, it's whatever.